need one more guy. Not right this minute, I know there's a lot of us. We don't quite fit in a circle, and that's okay. We'll make it work. So, we talked about in our learning target that we were going to look at the perspectives, the two different perspectives. And we also talked about the goal was that what happened and why. So that what happened and why is what you worked on in your work time. So in our reflection, I want us to talk about why were the two perspectives different on the same event? Because when I talked with a lot of you, you were noticing what I read to you from the British perspective and what you read in the colonist perspective. There were things that were different. So what I want us doing is we have the ball. If you don't have the ball, it's not your turn to speak. So you're going to share what you think. And if you would like to add on or change the person's thinking or have something added, you just put your thumb up and they'll say your name and toss you the ball. Okay? We would like to start our discussion about why were the two perspectives different for the same event? Miss Melanie. Ma'am, you didn't have to catch it. She can catch it.
The reason how the two were different is that the British people were their perspective about the Patriots were that they were like maybe they were so the Patriots they probably thought that the Patriots might have been mean, like just their perspective was probably mean and rude because they wanted independence and the Patriots didn't want to were mean and bully them.
Okay.
And the reason they're different is because the Patriots probably thought that the British people were weak, or like at first maybe weak, and then they then changed their thinking maybe to they're strong and maybe rude and mean at the same time.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to pause our conversation for a second. I really appreciate those of you who have your eyes on Melanie. You're leaning towards her. I know you're listening. Some of you have your back turned to her. You're fiddling with your pencil or paper. That's not showing a strong listener. So let's change that behavior. Okay, call on someone who would like to extend your thinking. Can I pause you for a moment? So, friends, I didn't ask you this question on your paper, so it may not be on your paper. I want you thinking about what you read and what I read, and thinking about why would there end up being two different perspectives if the same people were there. Does that make a little more sense now, Kaylee? Because you're not going to find the answer on that piece of paper. So, do you want to answer, or would you like to toss the ball to someone who's ready? Okay, pick someone who has their thumb up. They're ready to answer.
The Americans' perspective about the British was they did not really like them because they had different opinions about each other. Because
Why didn't the colonists like the British?
because
It's okay if you're not sure.
they didn't want to tell me because the
Okay, that's okay. So pick someone with their thumb up. Do you have your thumb up?
No.
Oh, okay. Jaren's got his thumb up. Why don't you toss it to Jaren?
They were different, but the two perspectives were different, but the same. But they had the same event because the Americans, in this story, the Americans thought that the British were there not to do something good, but to do something bad because they were enemies with the British. But the British perspective, it was because they were just there doing their job, and so then that's why the American colonists that's why they started a riot and started to assault the British.
Okay. So what I heard you say is you said the British just are there to do their job, right? Those soldiers, who told them that they had to be there? Mm-hmm.
their commander, their leader.
Their leader. So who's in charge of the colonies right now? Yes. Now who picks all the rules and the laws and the taxes? Who picks all of that for the colonists right now? Here, toss me the ball, please. Thank you. Brayden.
The king.
The king, right? The king in the colonies or the king over in Great Britain? What?
The king and
Mason, help him out. The king of the British, the king of Great Britain, he's in charge. And as we read the last couple days, let's try to refresh our memory. The colonists are getting tired of all these rules and laws and taxes that are making the British rich and do nothing for them. So what do we feel the Americans' perspective of the British are? Or sorry, let me rephrase that. What is the perspective that the colonists have of the British right now? Dallas.
Like we sort of feel like in the video that we were watching yesterday, the British took the money from the colonists.
Yeah, they felt like the British were taking their money, right? Why did they have the rights to tax all these goods and stuff? Okay, great. So what is the what are those soldiers' perspective of the Americans? Or the colonists, patriots? Toss it to somebody.
the British perspective was that they found big chunks of ice in them, and they're calling them, and the Americans.
The British are throwing ice?
No, on the American side.
Okay,
The Americans have found big chunks of ice in them and calling them bloody lobster bats. That was really offensive to the British.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then someone yelled fire, so they fired because they were really angry and steamed that thing.
Okay, but I asked you what you said is true, but I'm going to rephrase my question because I don't think you answered my question. What's the British soldiers' perspective of the Americans?
That the Americans are bad because they disobeyed the king.
Okay, so maybe they're feeling that they're not doing what they should be doing. They're trying to disobey the king. Absolutely. So let me put the pause on this question because I think we're struggling with this question. So I want to put it in perspective of what we might understand. So a lot of times things happen on the playground, right?
Yes.
And when we're out there, there's 3 classes. Do I see everything?
No.
No. So sometimes I'll have about 3 or 4 of you will run up to me.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you, okay, hold on. You tell me what happened, and you tell me what happened. Are they always the exact same thing?
No.
No. You both have these different perspectives of what happened in this event. So when we read the British perspective and the colonist perspective, were they the exact same? Why? Why does it happen that you have different stories on the playground and the colonists and the British have different stories about their argument? Someone I haven't heard from. Keenan, I haven't heard from you yet.
Because they have different schema and like know different things, and they think that they're doing the right thing.
Okay. So you're telling me maybe what we think about people or our feelings about people get in the way of how we tell how a story pans out? Absolutely. That's a big, big, big part that I want you to see. That's really where we're headed. That the British have this mindset of the Americans, and that's going to kind of play a part in how they tell this story of what happened that day. And the same thing for the colonists. They have this perspective of the British. They have these feelings about the British and those soldiers. And that's going to affect how they tell the story. So, I want to bring this to a close today. Yes. We're going to bring this reading lesson to a close. We're coming back to this, so I'm glad that you're engaged and you're excited about what we're learning. So, what we did today, let's think back to that learning target. We identified what happened and why with an event. That was our goal. We all worked on that in our work time. And I'll be reading those tonight to see, okay, who's got it? And maybe who still needs some work on that skill? I've already asked you to stop. Thank you. And then we've started thinking about this idea of perspective. And by the end of the week, that's where we're headed. Okay, perspective. Why are we seeing different perspectives? What causes these different perspectives? And how do they play out in history when we're reading about them? Okay? I'm really proud of the awesome work that we did today. Here's what I want you to do. You can keep your articles, but I need your worksheet. This sheet right here. So you're going to go back to your desk. Andrew's going to come around and collect those. Be sure your name is on it. I will tell you. Don't I always?
I ran into it. I wasn't paying attention. Excuse me.
You have your connection. Tell me what your connection is.
Yeah, because something happened outside.